Today I'm going to be taking some of the random ingredients in my fridge and turning them into a pizza. I'll be making a cursed pizza and another one with more traditional ingredients. This is in no way authentic, and if you're from Italy or have had a life-changing experience in Italy, please turn off the video right now. But hey, listen, if Korea can make pizzas with potatoes, corn, or hunks of meat, then, why not? So with my setup, I have my new pizza stone inside the oven set to the hottest temperature it will go. Mine is set to 525 degrees Fahrenheit, and I want it to be sitting there for about an hour to make sure that the stone is properly heated. You're gonna want to have this heating up before you start anything. So for our ingredients, we have mushrooms, cheese, peppers, and I have some pizza sauce that I froze. I also have my pizza dough that I'll let sit at room temperature to warm up, and lastly, some pork slices. First thing I'm gonna do is heat up my pizza sauce in a small pot and keep that going while I start cooking my pork. I'll put in some oil in the pan just to get it started and season with a bit of salt and pepper. For my veg, I'll roughly dice a pepper and some mushrooms. I got a new food processor for Christmas, and I'll use it to grate some cheese. It's my first time using this, so I'm actually pretty excited.
Oh no!
See? No problem at all. Using the grease from the pork, I'm going to saute my mushrooms and set those aside. Now that I have all of my ingredients prepped, I'm going to work the dough. I have a wire screen that I'll use as my pizza peel, and I have a sheet of parchment paper to easily slide the pizza into the oven. I'll dust it with a little bit of flour and start stretching the pizza dough. I'll dust a tiny bit of flour on top as well. There are a couple different ways to do this, but one of the ways that I was taught was to use the back of your knuckles and slowly start to stretch out the dough from the center. Following that, you can grab the edges of the pizza and start stretching the outside while slightly rotating the dough. This is the part that really allows the pizza to get wider while making sure that middle isn't too thin. If you keep stretching the middle, you'll have a really thick crust and really thin interior. You can check to see how wide your pizza is by spreading it out onto the parchment paper. And if you find that the dough is too sticky, you can dust a little bit more flour onto it. Once the pizza is the size you want it to be, you can spoon on some of that sauce, making sure it goes very close to the outer edge. A key point here is that less sauce is actually more in this instance. I'm going to par bake my dough to give the bottom a head start with the cooking. Proper Italian restaurants have a wood fire oven that goes all the way up to about 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Par baking on a pizza stone is kind of the best alternative if you don't have a wood fire oven just laying around. I'll par bake this for about 4 minutes and rotate it halfway through. I also start to smell the parchment paper burning, and because the pizza is actually firmed up enough, it won't stick to the stone, so I can get rid of that. Now that my pizza is partially cooked, I can put on the rest of the toppings. For the first one, I'll go more traditional with cheese, mushrooms, my pork, and bell peppers. That'll go back in the oven for another 4 minutes, and I'll rotate it halfway through. So with this first pizza done, let's take a look. It has a pretty thin crust, and the bottom looks like it was cooked nicely with the pizza stone. I wish the crust was a little bit more fluffy, but this actually isn't too bad for a frozen dough. After cutting it with scissors, I can see that the pizza isn't too floppy. But basically, there you have a pork, pepper, and mushroom pizza. Overall, pretty decent. Next, we'll move on to the second pizza. We'll do the same thing and spread out the dough using the back of our hands, spread some sauce on that, and par bake it. You can see that I left it in a little too long, and it's a bit darker than I would want it to be around the edges. We'll put on our cheese, followed by a bit more sauce, pork, peppers, kimchi, corn, and mangoes, and throw that into the oven. Wait. So before you grab your pitchforks and torches, hear me out for a sec for why I don't deserve jail for this. According to Cordon Bleu, there are 5 flavor elements that, when properly balanced, can really elevate your meal. These flavors are sweetness, saltiness, bitterness, sourness, and umami, or savoriness. Sweetness comes from the corn and the bell peppers, saltiness comes from the cheese, bitterness will come from the slight char on the pizza crust, sourness comes from the kimchi, and umami will come from the pork. The mangoes actually work in a similar way to pineapples in that they add a little bit of citrus sourness and also some sweetness. Balance is the key here. You want to make sure that no one flavor is overpowering all of the others. Turkeys and cranberries, sweet and sour, salted caramel. These are examples of foods that incorporate these multiple flavors so that it becomes more than the sum of its parts. So even though these foods aren't conventional on pizza, it actually tastes pretty decent. Once it's done, I'll brush the edges with some olive oil and garnish with green onion. The pork is a bit fatty, so the slight citrus from the mango really balances it out and cuts through the fat. The kimchi also cuts through it as well, but funny enough, it actually complements the tomato sauce quite nicely. And there you have it. 2 pizzas that I made just by using random ingredients I had laying around. If you're ever making food at home and you think some flavor might be missing, try adding one of the 5 flavors and see how it turns out. You might find something that works amazingly. In the future, I want to do a proper pizza video showing me making the dough from scratch. I also may want to explore this 5 flavors idea even further, maybe with sandwiches or something. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to catch those videos when they come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.